Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 957 of the Juicebox Podcast. On this episode, I speak with Bill, the father of a child with type 1 diabetes, and then partway through the episode, Bill hands the microphone to Anne, his wife. The entire thing happens while Anne is cleaning the refrigerator. While you're listening, please remember that nothing you hear on the Juicebox Podcast should be considered advice, medical or otherwise. Always consult a physician before making any changes to your healthcare plan or becoming bold with insulin. Start your day with AG1. Drink ag1.com/juicebox. If you're looking for a Dexcom, Omnipod, Gvoke HypoPen, a contour meter, US Med, Touched by Type 1, Athletic Greens, BetterHelp, or Cozy Earth, go into your podcast player, into the show notes, and there are links there for all of the sponsors. You can also find those links at juiceboxpodcast.com. When you click on one of my links, you're supporting the production of the podcast and keeping it free and plentiful. Don't forget to check out the Diabetes Pro Tip series and all of the series that are available in the podcast. They're at juiceboxpodcast.com or in the featured tab of the private Facebook group. This episode of the Juicebox Podcast is sponsored by Cozy Earth. Get yourself the same towels I use, the sweatpants I wear, and the sheets that I sleep on, and so much more at CozyEarth.com. When you use the offer code JUICEBOX at checkout, you will save a full 40% off of your entire order. 40% off your entire order at CozyEarth.com. Hello? Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Bill, how are you?
Perfect. Good, how are you?
Can I be honest with you?
Sure.
I've been sick since Saturday for sure. The week or so prior to that, my son and I would look at each other once in a while and go, "Do you feel okay?" He'd be like, "Oh, I thought I was going to get sick today, but then I didn't." My wife came home from Paris with COVID.
Okay.
She had to go there for work. She came home. She was fine. A day or two or three later, she's like, "I don't feel good." She's like, I'm going to get away from everybody and let's get me a COVID test and be sure. None of us have ever had COVID before. And so, sure enough, she has it. And my son and I just, excuse me, I'm sorry, there's so many noises over here that won't be happening in a minute. My son and I, without any concern for her at all, just jam her into a bedroom, and we were like, do not come out of there. Like,
stay away.
Yeah. If you're really lucky, we'll bring food. But if you come out, that's it. We'll burn the house down. So she's in there for 5 solid days. We're doing fine. It sucks and all, but nobody's sick, and she tests negative. And she says, "Well, I'm negative. It's, the CDC says this is long enough. I'll stay in here another day." And I was like, "Okay." So the next day goes by. She goes, "Boy, I feel terrific." And I was like, "Great. Okay." So she kind of reacclimates into the house.
Yeah.
36 hours later, she goes, "I don't feel good." And we were like, "What the are you serious?" So she's just, we jam her back in the room, but I'm guessing the damage was done. Because for the next 3 or 4 days, like every once in a while, Cole would be like, "I thought I was going to get sick today, but then I didn't." And I said, "Oh, I've had that feeling a couple of times." So Saturday comes, and he's dizzy. And I'm like, "You all right?" He goes, "I'm not okay." And he goes and lays down. I don't see him again. And I don't feel good that day. And then the next day, I'm not okay. And he's getting worse. And then Monday and Tuesday, and we test ourselves, and we don't have COVID. And our symptoms super look like this RSV that's going around, like everywhere. So we think, that's probably it, And nothing, just sick in the evening. It's the weirdest thing, Bill. Like, I get up in the morning, I don't feel good. In the middle of the day, I'm okay. I get a little tired at night, can't sleep. And then around 11 or 12 o'clock, my body gets super hot and I stay up all night and I can't sleep. It's happened 3 nights in a row. I fall asleep like
that's
4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So anyway, last night around, I don't know what time it was, 1 or 2 in the morning, my wife goes, just take another COVID test. Like I stuck it in my nose, stuck it in the thing, and the line popped up immediately.
Immediately. Yeah. That sounds about right. We all had it back in January. Well, except my wife, believe it or not. I don't know how she didn't get it, but we all had it. And immediately there was no waiting around it. We all popped
2 seconds.
2 seconds at that line. So, and I'm in sales. So anytime you can hear it in me, I actually have a head cold. I woke up this morning with a head cold because it seems like with 3 kids, there's somebody has been sick in this house with something for the last 2 months. It's just somebody's stuffy, somebody's coughing, something's going on.
Yeah.
And I got it again. So I have to test all the time for COVID. I was negative. But when we had it, it's exactly right. But it sounds like you were fortunate enough to go, 2.5, almost 3 years, huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, I didn't like being in my house, but I was very healthy. I was very healthy during it. But now, geez, I mean, look, I recorded an episode. People will hear this. We are recording, Bill, by the way. I'm sorry. Well, people will hear this just like forever after this happens. But I did an episode for Gvoke HypoPen. Me and Jenny did kind of like an instructional episode about how to use the pen and reasons why you'd want to tell people about your diabetes and how to help you with glucagon and, kind of stuff that it probably falls through the cracks for people like that. But it was a business arrangement. And so, there are 4 people on this recording from companies and everything. I just get up, I get on the thing and I say to people, like, I'm so sorry. I have a blanket here. You might see me wrap the blanket around myself during this. You will not, I swear you won't hear it on the recording. I did a really good job, but the exact opposite happened. We started talking and I just broke out. I looked like I was kicking heroin. Like I was just sweating like a waterfall. And people I know are looking at me going like, oh, this ain't going to work out. but I did it, Bill. I was pretty good. I was pretty impressed with myself when it was over.
You pulled through it.
Yeah.
I had it the worst. That's how I was my first night. I mean, I was just, like you said, shivering, wrapped up. And I'm a big guy. I'm a former college football player. So, I feel like I can take pain. Even my wife will tell me that I'm the typical, stereotypical dad who is tough 99% of the time, but the minute you're sick, you're kind of a wuss. But it kicked my butt. I was sweating and shivering and chills and couldn't get warm. It was something else for a few days.
Yeah, well, it's interesting how owning like your own business, like if this podcast was, if it was somebody else's, I would have called them 3 days ago and been like, I'm sick.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Good luck. I don't know how you're going to do it. I'm not coming. But when it's me, like I got up this morning and I'm like, all right, you ass. Like get moving, like I'm like get in the shower, wake yourself up, like go. You break out in a sweat, you'll deal with it later. Like it's funny. You know what, Bill? I'm sorry. After this, we'll introduce you and get going. But my dad bailed on us when I was pretty young. Like I was like 13, and I never thought I took a ton of like, I don't know, examples from him other than don't treat people like this. But there's this one thing when I was a little kid, I remember if he was sick, he went to work and just like, he just did it. And I remember being in this kitchen of our house one time and I was like watching him I must have been like this my whole life. Like this, I have a real concern for other people. And like, I'm watching him get ready to leave for work. And I said, Dad, I think you should stay home. You're really sick. And he goes, no. I want to save my sick days for something good. and I was like, what now? And he goes, I'm going to be sick today no matter what, Scott. Might as well go do it somewhere where they're paying me. And I was like, all right, old man, go get it. And now I think back, he was probably like 38, 40 years old, and he was just like, he's like, listen, I only get a few of these days. I'm not wasting them on laying around the house. I was like, okay.
It's very true.
Yeah, it's just very funny. So anyway, I'm sorry we had this whole conversation before we started. I just want to tell you, you're wearing wired headphones. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, I'm actually attached to my iPhone with the wired headphones.
That's cool. Can you just do me a favor? Like when you're moving the cable, the wire side with the mic is rubbing something. So if you keep that, if you keep that from happening, that'd be terrific.
Perfect.
Why don't you just introduce yourself and we'll keep talking.
Okay. Hi, my name is Bill Stocker from Easton, Pennsylvania. I have a daughter, Sylvia, who is type 1 diabetic. I have two other children as well, Sophia, Weston, and married to my wife, Andrea.
All right. So you have Sophia type 1. Is that right?
No, so Sylvia is type 1.
Excuse me.
Sylvia.
This might go like this a little bit today.
That's quite all right. And their names are so close. It's Sylvia and Sophia. So they're, it's very, very easy to get them confused. But no, Sylvia is type 1 and she'll be 13 next week, actually.
Oh, wow. Happy birthday. Sophia, younger or older?
Sophia's younger. She's 15 months younger.
Oh, okay.
So she's 11 right now.
All right. And your wife. Okay.
Yeah. So, and then Weston, my son, Weston, who's 8 years old.
And you have a boy too. Okay. All right. So 3 kids, a wife, 1 type 1 diabetes. Okay. How long ago was she diagnosed?
She was diagnosed. Actually, we're coming up on her anniversary in 3 days. So October 30th of 2015.
Wow. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Oh, okay. Wow. A good long time. Right before Halloween.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's the poor kid was in the hospital over, you're hospitalized for 3 days while they get everything situated, and they had trick or treat on the pediatric floor, and this poor kid is being diagnosed with diabetes while everyone's trick or treating. And God bless their hearts, the Lehigh Valley Hospital didn't know much. They didn't realize what was going on, but they had a fun event planned for the kids, and my kid was newly diagnosed with diabetes.
Well, lots of low snacks. That's all. Like,
yeah.
It just what they should have taught her was like, no, not the chocolate. I'll take anything with sugar, please. Just give a Skittle in there or something.
Exactly.
Wow, that's a long time ago already. Does it feel like it's been a long time?
It doesn't. I mean, it just becomes, your instincts kind of kick in. It just becomes a part of life. It's, it's always been a part of her. At first, it was like we kind of had 4 kids. We had the 3 kids and then diabetes, where we had to make sure you got to make sure everyone's packed and shoes are tied. Everyone's going to the bathroom. But then you add, is your bag packed? Do you have lows? Do you have, at the time, glucagon? Do you have this? But now everything's just second nature. And we're blessed. But Sylvia, she kind of took over with her, helping to run it at an early age. By 6 or 7, she was doing things on her own, that we were just blessed to have, and she had such a positive attitude about it.
Wow.
So it's really it has not, we look back and say, wow, I can't believe it's been 7 years, because it hasn't. It's kind of flown by just like any other any other day or year would.
The way time does.
Yeah.
So you're not the primary caregiver for the kids, or you are?
I'm not. No, I work, and my wife stays home, and she's a primary caregiver for the kids.
So this is, for me, then your perspective's much different than what I get normally. So I really want to hear, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you first to tell me, you know what I mean? Because your perspective, Bill, I called my husband at work and I told him we got to get the kids to the hospital. Like, that's how the story goes 80% of the time. So how about for you? Like, what was the lead up like, and how did you realize that Sylvia had type 1, the whole thing?
So it's, it's kind of, we've, even before and after, while I work, I've always been fortunate enough to, at an early age when the kids came, to be home a lot with work. I've always coached the kids. And so we've been a real close team. I've had, like growing up, my dad worked 12, 16 hours a day. So while he coached us, my mom really kind of helped take care of us. But we've been involved, I've been involved with it a lot, but Andrea, my wife, does so much of it. But leading up to it, we had just moved. So Sylvia, we had moved to school districts. We didn't move far, only a couple of miles, but we had changed school districts. Sylvia was changing schools. And we just started to see and notice some behavioral changes. Excuse me, I'm going to walk around the house here to get a drink of water.
You're fine.
So we started noticing some things. Sylvia was always the nicest kid. She was always very patient. Everybody always said, and this is my kind of how I recognized it, and some of the things my wife noticed differently. She had always been a great colorer, right? So everyone says that about their kids. Oh, she's such an artist. But she would always color in the lines and be very patient. We noticed that started to change sometimes. She would kind of just get frustrated easily, or get frustrated with her sister. Things start, like if she was coloring, she would walk away from it. because it wasn't as neat as it was. She was my wife started noticing at night using the bathroom a lot more. One night we had caught her in the bathroom drinking out of the faucet, just shoveling water into her mouth because she was so thirsty.
Mm-hmm.
The typical signs. And my wife had kind of picked up on it earlier than me. Those are some of the things I noticed. And of course, a dad coming home just saying, she's fine. She's just, she's changing mentally. She's just having an issue changing schools. She's having a hard time, changing. She's moved from her old house, her first house she's ever known, to a new, bigger home. But my wife really started looking into it and had an idea. When it happened, let's just say it was a shock, but Andrea wasn't fully surprised.
Yeah. It's interesting too, to see how I always hear that story from the other side. Like, I was seeing it happen, but the person from outside of the house who's coming, who's not there during the day to see all the little quirky things happen. That person either does what you did, or they come in and they have like the flip perspective where they're like, I don't know, we should check because I don't know what you're talking about. But the coloring thing.
Yeah. It's something I've noticed that I can see it in my. There's a specific time where she was sitting at. We have a nice bench table in the dining room. She was sitting there, and she just got up and walked away from it. And she kind of snapped at her sister a little bit. And I just looked at the drawing, and the coloring wasn't what it used to be. Yeah. And she was having a hard time, obviously focusing. She was having headaches from her blood sugars being so high, and she just having a hard time focusing and looking at these drawings. And it just changed. It went from inside the lines, beautiful. We have actually some of her art when she was a kid hanging up in our house, to just coloring outside the lines and just filling it in. All right, this is going to be green, so I'm just going to scribble it in green. And she would just get up and walk away from it.
She didn't have the concentration.
She did not. She could not sit down and focus on it. She couldn't.
So then how does that translate to medical care? How do you decide we should take her to a doctor? CozyEarth.com will give you 40% off of your entire order when you use the offer code Juicebox at checkout. I'm looking at the website right now. Right on the front page, you can't go wrong. Viscose bamboo sheet set. There's a sale right now. Hopefully the sale will still be there when you get there. Go get the sale. Add my 40% to it. Long sleeve bamboo pajama set for women. Comfortable. The bamboo pullover crew, I got my eyes on that one personally. Doesn't have a hood on it like the one I have now. Thinking I might be onto that next. When I go to bed tonight, I'm going to be jumping into some Cozy Earth sheets. And when I get up in the morning, I'll be drying myself off after my shower with my Cozy Earth towels. I am not making any of this up. Use all this stuff. It's terrific. I just spent my own money, last week to get a new set of joggers because I'm losing some weight. And what else did I get? A new pullover, new joggers, and I bought more pillowcases. I used my own code, Juicebox, at checkout, and I saved 40%. You will too. CozyEarth.com. Get there now while the summer sale's going on. If you don't get there with the summer sale still happening, all right, fair enough. You'll still save the 40%, but don't miss out on that sale. When you get to the site, check out the bedding, the bath, men's and women's clothing, the accessories, all the new arrivals, and of course, everything that's been on Oprah's favorite things list. You can even bundle and save. Go to CozyEarth.com right now, and just don't forget to use that offer code Juicebox at checkout. That's where you're going to make the big savings. There are links to Cozy Earth and all of the sponsors in the podcast player you're listening in right now, right in the show notes of those players, and at juiceboxpodcast.com. Let's get back to Bill, then we'll jump over to Ann, find out where this title came from. Was that more the drinking that got you there?
Yeah, it's funny. Again, this is all around Halloween. So she was scheduled to go to a Halloween parade at her school that day. And it was any typical Friday. My wife was going to take the kids into school, go to the parade. I was home a little bit early, so I was waiting for my dad to get off work. My dad's younger. Yeah, he had me when he was 20, so we were very close. So him and I were going to go out and watch some sports, and she was going to take the kid to the physical, So she decided to have a doctor's appointment for Sylvia. Say, hey, I'm just going to take her to the doctor's, get her a physical, kind of see what's going on. And I said, okay. So, she had her costume, Halloween costume in the car, ready to go. We're going to go from the doctor's back to school and figure it out. And then it just kind of all fell apart from there.
Yeah.
Andrea kind of knew, that's why she took her in for the physical, and the doctor kind of knew right away as well that something's not right. It's probably, it could be, at the time, juvenile diabetes.
Yeah. And he told Andrea that right in the doctor's office.
Yeah, if you don't mind, Andrea's here. She's just a little shy on talking on. So the doctor told you right in the office, correct?
Yeah, well, he knew over the phone.
Yeah, they kind of knew. They knew over the phone.
Even over the phone, they know. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the symptoms that Anne was giving to the doctor, they kind of knew.
I gotcha. Okay.
So they wanted her to come in, do the finger stick, and just kind of confirm what their thoughts were. And then I got the call from Anne that they were heading out to Lehigh Valley Hospital.
What was the Halloween costume?
It was and we have an awesome picture of it. It was a Batgirl costume. It was a pink Batgirl costume.
Nice.
And we have a picture, I think the day before, or even the day before, she had it on in front of our garage. And she's standing in this powerful, superwoman type stance with her arm pointed up in the air and like showing off. And we've used that on certain things we've done for if she's ever done a poster for diabetes or pictures for it, that's kind of been our poster of, it's a super, here she is dressed as a superwoman. And the next day she's, giving her kryptonite, right? The next day.
Oh, that's something else. Oh, wow. Okay. So how long did they keep her at the hospital?
She was in the hospital 4 days.
4. Okay.
Yeah. It was over a weekend. So the staff was light, right? There weren't specialists there over the weekend. It was rough. I mean, we had great support from friends and family that we just didn't expect. We had cousins show up to bring their kids to visit Sylvia. We had a lot of support. So it made it easier, especially on my wife, and it's like I said, I was distracted with work and the other kids, and she was at the hospital the whole time with Sylvia.
Yeah.
But we had a great group of support. We did.
How does that work backwards? While she's at the hospital learning, is she calling you and filling you in? Is she taking notes and saying, I'll come home and explain all this? Or did she feel like it was going to be her thing primarily?
No, we did it together. So I would be, so we had, again, we're fortunate that we have a lot of family that live in the area. So, we'd have my mother-in-law helped us out a lot. She was here with the kids during the day. Then my mom would help as well. So we had a lot of help where I would then go out to the hospital, and I'd spend 4 or 5 hours there with Andrea when they had meetings that they were going to explain things like that. I would make sure I'd get there as well. And I had a job at the time that was really supportive of it. Take whatever time you need, learn everything. So we were kind of there side by side, learning everything as it went along. Now, as emergent, I would come home at night about 9 o'clock at night to the other kids, get them ready for bed, and then
you were kind of doing the functional stuff at the house.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yep. And she would get through the nights with Sylvia, and then I'd come back out a little once the kids got situated, and we would I head back out to the hospital with Andrea.
Was there any indication as far as family line goes that you were looking for type 1 diabetes?
Well, my brother is type 1. So my younger brother's type 1 diabetic. But other than that, I mean, we weren't really looking for it. I mean, we've had there's some type 2 sprinkled throughout the family, but there's nobody that we directly know on that we've dealt with. I mean, we never really recognized it. Even with my brother, he always lived. He didn't live in the area, so we weren't really too familiar.
How old was he when he was diagnosed?
He was 17 or 18. He was a freshman in college, so he was diagnosed at later in life.
And you're how much older than he?
I'm 4 years, so I'm 4 years older.
You were an adult, and he was just getting into college. Okay,
correct. Yep, I had just graduated college, and he was just starting. We were exactly a high school career apart, basically.
So when he was diagnosed, is that a thing? Like your parents call you, and you're like, "Hey, your brother has diabetes," or how did you intersect with that?
It kind of was. It was just, hey, they, and again, my parents were hard workers, right? They were factory guys or, worked in a hospital as a secretary.
Mm-hmm.
So they weren't really on top of it as well because they hadn't had any experience with it. And I was kind of doing my own thing. I was living at home, but just graduated from college, trying to figure out what was going on. And it was kind of like, hey, your brother has diabetes. Visited him in the hospital. He got out, and they kind of helped him do it. And I just didn't really have much contact with it. I guess It was just kind of because he was a little bit older, so it wasn't like he needed help as far as taking care of himself. He was old enough to learn it on his own.
No, I understand completely. I was just interested about it was a specific time in your life. Like if that would have happened to him, I don't know, 6 or 7 years prior, you would have had a lot of experience with type 1.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but just because of the way it landed, you just didn't really.
Okay. Yeah, exactly right. Exactly. Yep, I was exactly. So you would have thought, it was, so when my daughter was diagnosed, it wasn't like I had this bank of information I could fall back on. It was just as fresh as new if I had never met anybody with it.
Now, when she is diagnosed, do you call your brother and go, hey, Sylvia's got that type 1 as well. I need, I don't know what your relationship's like, but I'm just wondering, did you have that avenue?
Yeah. And I think he was living in Florida at the time. So, we called and explained, and, there was things that we definitely kind of leaned on him for, as far as checking on things, any technology we should look out for. But again, it's hard with that distance in between. Sure. But yeah, it was, and again, not being a child, so he couldn't directly relate, what it was like to be a 5-year-old diagnosed with it or to be a parent with it,
So then what was that like for her? Did they, it's a while ago now, it was right at the beginning of CGM. So I don't imagine you had one of those. What did they give her when she left?
So we were fortunate. We had CGM and quite quickly. It was 4 months.
Really? Well, that's great.
So yeah, we had the Dexcom rep in our area did a great job. And again, the Lehigh Valley network, they did, with the social work, they were on top of everything. They answered every question. Mm-hmm. I wish I could remember names to kind of give them a shout out, but they did a great job, really. And again, so did my wife. She really researched, and, we were really advocates for her as getting everything we could for her as quickly as possible to make it as easy as it would be.
Well, that's really cool. So she had a CGM pretty quickly. MDI, I guess, for how long?
MDI meaning, I'm sorry.
Multiple daily injections. She was injecting insulin.
Oh yeah.
At first, how long did she? Yeah. And does she still do that? Maybe.
Probably. I think we should have pump in 2 months.
So it was a matter of months as well with the pump. So we probably had her full bionic suit, if you will. We had the pump and the CGM and the pump within 3 to 4 months of each other. It was quite quickly.
What year was that again?
This was it'll be 7 years. So 2015. Yeah, the end of 2015.
Oh, that's great. That is really great.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, we were very fortunate for that. Those first, 3 months of the sleepless nights, constantly checking her, doing the night shift, I'll check her this hour, you check her the next hour. I think our sleep patterns have, for mine in particular, have never really changed. You still don't get more than 2 hours at a clip, because you're still getting up, checking your Dexcom and things like that, making sure everything's okay throughout the night.
Is that a worry for you, or is that a real need? Is she getting low or high?
No, it's especially now she's been good. She plays 3 sports, sometimes 2 sports in a single season. So there are nights where it's a need, where she'll, if she's swimming throughout the day and then has basketball tournament or softball tournament, her nights, there could be some long nights where it's, 4, 5, 6 juice boxes in a night. But it's more, I think it's more of a conscious thing for me, more of a habit. Because when I would travel a little bit too when she was first diagnosed, some overnights here and there. And, I would always just stay up, making sure I was checking it because Andrea was home with them. But I would also make sure, even though I was distant, I was still checking it, calling, texting, making sure everything was, so it was more habit. She's been pretty good for a while as far as lows throughout the night.
Wow. No, that's great. All that activity during the day is tough. I've definitely, I'm picturing ourselves in a hotel room after a softball tournament where Arden just, we didn't have that much stuff with us at the end of the day. And we're down to like a banana and 2 more juice boxes. And I'm like, I hope this gets us through this night,
Yeah, I know. That's well, we've had a couple of nights like that where we've gotten through it, and we're just like, hey, it's on the shopping list. You can see it. It's pick up juice boxes and fruit snacks tomorrow or whatever. And then that night prior, you're down to 1 juice box, and you're looking through the back of the refrigerator. Is there orange juice? Is there anything left over we could give her?
So what is I'm sorry. I'm trying to think about how the kind of daddy-daughter thing works with the diabetes. Does it, because you have another daughter, like, do you notice your focus being different? Do you treat them differently even? And I don't mean poorly, but like,
sure.
Yeah. Can you talk about that a little bit?
I do, in a sense where I could see it. I don't know if you would say I'm harder on Sylvia just because of the diabetes, or she's a great kid and a great athlete, and she wants to do everything well. Now I'm going to take a step back for a second. I remember when she was in Girl Scouts, after a year, she did a presentation on diabetes, the pancreas, how it doesn't work, and they all got a patch for diabetes because of her. She stood up because of her presentation. She stood up in front of her elementary school after a year being diagnosed and gave a presentation on stage to the teachers and the students about diabetes and what she had. So I think from an early start, she was that way, and I never wanted her to feel she couldn't do anything. So I think I maybe pushed her. I still do probably push her a little bit more. I'm probably a little bit tougher on her to not give up on anything, even if it's not diabetes related. So I don't think it's just, but that could just be because she's my oldest as well. So,
No, there's no way to know. I had a moment with Arden last night. She's away at college and she's doing a really great job, but there's moments where if she's going to drop a ball, it seems like during the day, she's decided it's going to be her blood sugar. And so I've been helping her hey, here, but there are times where I'm like, Arden, do something right now. And you could avoid this problem. And she hasn't always done it. And she's gotten into a higher blood sugar for a couple of hours. And I sent her a note, I'm usually like, hey, do this. And I'm trying to be supportive and I'm trying not to ruin her college experience. And at the same time, I'm not going to let her get into a situation where she's just like, oh, my blood sugar is 200. It's okay. And so, I sent her a text last night and I said, I said, hey. And she goes, I know, I'm taking care of it. And I responded back and I said, I'm calling in 5 minutes. Answer the phone. So I'm like, gave her 5 minutes because I don't know what she's doing. I want to give her a moment. And she responds back like a minute later and she goes, I don't need you to call me. And I said, 4 minutes, answer the phone. So I got on the phone and she was irritated. Like, she's working on her homework and I get it. And I said, Arden, this is going to be a quick conversation. I'm not mad at you. I was like, you're doing a great job. We're just have to do these things sooner. We're causing our own problems. You and I are going to, the food is difficult at school.
Sure.
We're going to do meals together for a few days. That's it. We just are. I don't need you to do that. I said, you do. It's the food's hard to cover. You don't know what you're doing. There's some simple things we could do here to fix this. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow. And that's, there's no reason to yell at her or anything like that. But I was really direct and I said, look, this is what we're doing. I didn't do what my dad would have done, which probably would have been like, look, do what I tell you or you're going to find out what a student loan is. You know what I mean? So
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Exactly.
But I was, I was more firm with her than I think we normally are. And she responded fine to it. And then we talked for a minute. I said, by the way, I think I have COVID. I'm going to go now. And I'm going to go pass out. But yeah, it's tough, right? Because you don't want to overwhelm them and burden them with it. And you don't want them to not take it seriously, right? Is that how you feel?
Exactly right. And I think that's one of that's one of Andrea, my wife's points with her is, look, this is not, you do need to take it serious. You do, if I'm texting you to treat or if I'm texting you to adjust or do something, respond back to me, take it serious. Whatever you're doing at that moment is not as important as what we're talking about right now. So get it done, get it situated, and then we'll figure it out. So I absolutely. And you don't, you don't want to, like you said, you don't want to burden them where it's, she's in the middle of doing something with her friends and she's having fun, but you see she's dropping, or you see she's, starting to skyrocket. You don't want to pull her out of that fun situation, but she also has to learn this is the way it's going to be, so figure out that happy medium. But, we do get a little stern with her at times and have to dial her back in to refocus on it.
I think I give a lot of weight also to the conversations I've had on the podcast with young people whose parents pushed too hard, and then the kids just went flipped around and went the totally opposite way. And I'm just not taking care of this at all. And I'm trying to be cognizant of that line. I don't know how I'm doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think we think that too with everything. We don't ever want her to get to the point where, and I think in 7 years, she's maybe said it a handful of times that, I hate diabetes or I hate this. She hasn't gotten to that point often. And I think it's because of, how good of a job my wife is with her and teaching her. And part of it, Sylvia's, her mentality. She's just, again, we're just blessed to have such a good kid. We joked around about, what if one of our other kids got it? Well, our middle daughter, she's a pit bull, man. She's tiny. She'll tell you to go to hell in a heartbeat. So we always joke man, if we were going to have a kid that this happened to, Sylvia was just calmer and just more dialed in on focusing on things. So it's, she's made it a little bit easier on us.
Yeah. Hey, so this recording is interesting. Your wife made this appointment, right?
She did. Yeah. She did. And then she kind of said, "Hey, would you mind talking to Scott?" And then I said, "Yeah, absolutely. Whatever, I'm, again, being a sales guy, so it's easier for me to talk than it is for a stay-at-home mom."
No, listen, this is super interesting. So she wanted to be on the podcast, but she chickened out about talking on it. Is that what happened?
I think she basically kind of chickened out on it.
But
yeah.
She's there right now.
I'm watching her now. She's listening to me, making sure I get things right as she, to be honest with you, as she cleans the refrigerator right now.
Do you think in the last 10 minutes of this, do you think she would jump on with me and talk to me? Is she getting more comfortable, or does she really not want to do it?
Like I said, would you be able to talk for a couple minutes, Ian? Sure. She said, sure.
See, that's cool. All right. Well,
absolutely. I think she's warming up. You see, once
yeah.
Yes. Once she's done cleaning the spilled pickle juice out of the refrigerator.
yeah. Once she's done that, put her on. That I'm interested to see what happened here. But so day to day, you're pretty involved with all this, and are things going the way that you hoped? Are you having outcomes with A1Cs and variability that you're looking for? If not, where's the struggle?
I think we are. I mean, we're still struggling to find her because find that sweet spot, I guess, using sports terms. It's once we feel like we've got her in a good level, she's staying where there's no peak, there's not many peaks and valleys, and something changes. She gets sick, right? And then we're making changes to her insulin delivery, or we're changing something out, and then or she hits a growth spurt, or she turns 13, and those womanly things come up, and it seems like
yeah.
And as a parent, we want our lives are our children, so we don't ever feel like we're doing good enough for her. But I when we go to the doctor, we get that pep talk. She's doing very well. We see so many horror stories that be confident, that you guys are doing the best you can for her. So we just never feel like we're doing enough. Of course,
that hormone stuff is real.
Absolutely. We started it last year, or earlier this year, and it's been wild, let's say.
Yeah. No, yesterday morning, Arden's blood sugar looked difficult, and then we got a little more aggressive with it. And then the rest of the day, it was on the lower side. And you're just like, how did that switch flip so quickly? Yep. And then you come into that last meal of the day, and you're a little frozen. You're like, well, in the morning we needed to be more aggressive, and throughout the day and in the early evening, we need to be less aggressive. Now here comes food. Which one are we going to pick? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, are we going to be aggressive here, and is she going to get low, or are we going to err on the side of caution here, and she's going to get high? And you know, if she was here, I know I would have been like, be more aggressive. But because she wasn't, and she was using her experience from the day, like a day where at the end of her day, like she had a low blood sugar approach her, that she ate a lot of carbs to cover, and it didn't make her high afterwards. So you're like, wow. So, you know, she was trending low all day, but holding on, added all these carbs, didn't make her high, goes to eat food an hour later and probably thinks, well, I'm low right now. And then of course, complete opposite.
It shoots up. Yeah. We've had plenty of days like that, especially with sports where you're, how do we give this meal? You're coming home. It's 8:30 at night. She's going to be going to bed in an hour. You know, we don't want to have to wake her up 3 times and give her juice. So we don't want to be overly aggressive. And then we make the decision to, all right, let's give 10 untreated. And now all of a sudden she's skyrocketing and we're, you know, it's like, and you just think, damn it, made the wrong choice there.
Thing. I did the wrong thing. I thought that last night. I was like, oh, I did the wrong thing. Cause she's like, what do you think? And I was like, well, what do you think? And, you know, she's like, well, I've been low all afternoon. And I'm like, all right. So, and not like dangerously low, just on the low end where you're just like popping a gummy bear once in a while, watching your blood sugar be 75 or 80, and then it drifts again. And, you know, like it's I don't know. It sucks.
Yep.
But anyway.
And that's how Ann and I are a lot. I mean, we do kind of handle it. She'll be at a birthday party and we always eye the food up first. What's the cake look like? What's the pizza situation? How is it, thick crust? What is it? So she's doing all that, texting me while Sylvia's playing. Hey, this is thick crust. They got regular Neapolitan pizza with chocolate cake. What do you think as far as, you know, so we're texting back and forth. I got the other kids, maybe, you know, we're home playing basketball or something like that. But Ann and I are texting back and forth, you know, game planning for when these kids get done and they're ready to sit down and eat their lunch. So it's always like that. Even at nighttime, hey, what do you think? Do we just knock 10 off or just give her 10 untreated? Or do we, and, you know, so we're certainly involved together a lot, you know, to where there's times where she'll text me and ask me and I either can't get back to her and then I finally do. And my answer is the opposite of what she did. And it's kind of like, well, I guess we wait and see now.
That's always fun. What do you think? 10, I think 20. Great. What do we, okay.
Yeah, exactly right. Yep.
But during the day at school, so is Sylvia pretty like self-sufficient? Do you help her with meals? Does she go to a nurse? How does that all work?
So she packs lunch every day. So, she's starting. So we used to pack lunch every day, but now she's starting to buy. So she's pretty self-sufficient where we can see the meals up front and she's going to know, but she actually doesn't visit the nurse at all. She does everything on her own. So she's planning what she wants to eat. And we've noticed during the day, she will get some spikes because she won't make her mind up prior to lunch. She'll sometimes get there and switch it up. So that's that part of being, you know, a teenage kid that we don't want her life to be completely planned out. So we'll let her kind of make a decision, but there's certain things where, you know, she's self-sufficient, but if we notice it getting out of control, we have to tell her, hey, look, you gotta learn we got to figure out how you're going to pre-bolus here. Give yourself at least a little bit before you get into lunch. If you're not sure exactly what you want to eat, and start treating sooner, and then we can figure the rest out later.
That's a good balance. It gives weight to both ideas that everything can't be so structured that you're just like, I got to get away from this. And yet it's structured in the places that keep her safe and things to that nature. So that's really cool.
That's where as she gets older and, you know, if she's in high school, if we see she's able to deal with the structure better, I'd love to have more structure for her. Hey, this is your meal plan for the week. This is what's for lunch. This is what we're going to do. But at this point, I'm not so sure, just, you know, being that where she just wants to be with her friends, being a almost 13-year-old girl, we don't want to give that full structure there because when she comes home, she's going to get it. So, you know, we kind of give her a little bit of a leadway there.
Good luck with that, Bill, because last night on the phone, I could feel Arden's irritation with talking to me. Like I could feel it in the silence. And I said, hey. And she goes, well, she didn't even say anything. I don't even remember what she did. I just knew it was there. And I was like, hey, listen, I'm really sick. We're just going to do this and get it done and move on. And nobody needs to be upset. because I don't have it in me to be upset right now. I was like, let's just have this conversation and get past it. So she's like, oh, she goes, okay. And I was like, all right.
There we go.
Yeah, now's not the time to pick a fight with me because I don't have enough. I'm barely holding my head up. So,
well, she probably could have gotten a win then, but she good.
Oh no, yeah, she could have knocked me over easily. I also have there's also when I was younger, I would have gotten in the car and driven the 15 hours to her and knocked on her door and been like, we weren't done talking yet, So I don't think I have that in me anymore, but.
No, I'm curious to see because I feel like I could be that way as well. So we actually obviously have 5-6 years before that comes about, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't want to think about it right now.
Yeah, that's great. All right, can I try Andrea now?
Absolutely.
All right, let's give her a shot.
Okay, I'm going to hand her the headphones.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Scott. Appreciate it.
Oh, Bill, you were terrific. Thank you.
Don't let the microphone on your shirt.
Oh, okay. Hello.
Is it Ann or Andrea?
Either one is fine.
Because he flipped back and forth so easily between calling you Ann and Andrea. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I think he uses both. Everyone does.
At first, I thought you guys might be Mormon and there were two girls there, but I realized then it's you, one or the other. So.
Oh, yeah. No.
So,
no.
So, okay.
We are not Mormon.
So, and listen, I don't know how much you heard in the beginning. I'm viciously sick. I have recently tested positive for COVID. I've been sick for a week. Doesn't matter.
Oh.
I'm doing good, but I need to know before I die because this could kill me. Okay, your sign up is one of the most interesting and confusing.
I'm sorry.
Can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah. It's just crackling a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. It sounds clean on this end, so I didn't know that was happening. I apologize.
Okay.
So you signing up to be on the podcast is one of the most interesting, confusing things that I've had, making people sign up. There's some questions like, hey, this is what, what's your connection to diabetes? What do you want to talk about? Like that kind of stuff. So did you sign up to be on the podcast?
I signed Bill up to be on.
But physically you did the typing is what I'm saying.
I
right?
did the typing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I asked him, hey, would you want to go on?
Okay. Cause so on my end, it just says, Andrea, and then it asks questions about why you want to be on everything. There's no I understand I'll be participating with this there's no answer about what you want to talk about. And then,
I must have missed that part. And he
it.
asked me, what am I supposed to talk about? And I said, I don't know. I guess you just talk.
Well, by the way, that's what usually happens. But so I just look and I'm like, okay, whatever. This is what it's going to be. I'll be fine. I didn't know I was going to have COVID while we did it. No big deal. If I take too deep of a breath right now, I think I'm going to fall over. But so I found a nice pace. Anyway, so I don't know how long ago, I get an email from Bill and Bill's like, hey, I'm coming on the podcast. And I'm like, are you so I'm searching his name and I'm like, I don't have this person on here. I don't know what's going on. And then then he starts telling me, no, my wife signed up for blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I just could not figure out what was happening.
Oh, yeah. I signed up under my name and I figured I'd just hand it over to him.
and what was your, what was the onus? Why did you want for you or he to be on the podcast? What's the idea that you wanted to get across?
I just thought that, I don't know, the way my daughter handles diabetes, I think it could maybe give a better impression to newly diagnosed parents.
Okay.
Or parents of newly diagnosed children. Just that I see a lot of posts and blogs and things just being so down and so sad, which it is. But I just want to show it doesn't have to be forever, Mm-hmm. You could be positive, you could move on, you could do anything that you wanted to do normally, things like that.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah, just more positive experience, really.
So did you have a bad experience that you were able to move in a positive direction? Or do you think it's just your daughter's personality in general?
Her personality. I think she took it better than I did at first. I was really super sad and just seeing her be hurt. She thought she was being hurt by the needle. She thought everybody was hurting her. And that just made me sad for longer than it made her sad. She she moved on quickly.
Mm-hmm.
She went right back to playing soccer, which she didn't stick out, but
Well, it makes sense.
She
It's
just
such
moved
a
on.
boring
Yeah.
sport. And I mean, honestly, they run back and forth and nobody scores. You can't, it's terrible.
Oh yeah. Yeah. My kids all tried soccer and quit.
But so you think that, well, not you think, but you were, I mean, were you sad, like depressed, or sad, just like sullen, like for a while? How long did that last for you?
A while, a couple months, I would say.
Okay. And she wasn't in the same space. Like she had left that
No.
space. You were still in it.
No, they were getting in trouble in the hospital. Her and her little cousins putting the bed all the way up. The nurses kept having to come in and tell them to calm down. And she was okay. Yeah.
So the sadness is the life change. You didn't know anything about it, I imagine, right? Like you never once looked at Bill's brother and thought, oh, he has type 1 diabetes. I have to worry about this for my kids. Like you didn't have any.
No, never thought about it.
Okay. So how did you get out of that feeling? Do you know?
No, I don't know. I guess it just kind of stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess just time.
I guess over
time, being busy with other kids. And
so the plan here is make so many kids that you don't have enough time to focus on life's problems. I believe that.
Just get overwhelmed. Fill it all up.
It's like in the 1940s. They're like, I don't know, we had 9 kids. One of them got lost. We didn't even look for it. Like that. It probably is.
Yeah, our kids were all back to back. They all play sports, 3 sports a year, and then we just swim all summer. So we just moved on with life, I guess.
Yeah, stay busy and keep moving. And so when you say you see other people kind of in the sadness, like you know where they've been, you've been there, and are you afraid that they're not leaving?
Kind of. Sometimes I feel like, well, maybe if you just tried, like the way they get mad at school and just stay so angry, which we had our share of things with school, really bad experiences, but I don't know, just the way the negativity just stays there and they just stay mad. Like everything is so hard, and it is harder, but you can work around things a lot easier if you're more positive.
Well, I will say one thing that I think might make you feel a little better, because my experience with online communities is that there's different waves, right? Like there's newly diagnosed people who are scared, don't know what they're doing, need help. Then there are people who move on to the phase of being upset about everything about diabetes, right? Like I heard a comedian make a joke about sugar. He doesn't understand. I'm going to get him fired. Like, like that whole thing.
Yeah.
And then there's the, we're being, treated poorly by the school, these people, this. I tried to go to, oh God, what was the one I saw the other day? Like somebody tried to go to a water park, and the people the water park wouldn't let us bring in our food. And, I'm like, no one knows about diabetes. Like you know about it. Like they don't.
Exactly.
Right. And you have you see these big reactions from some people, by the way. I don't think everybody, that walks into that water park for the first time with diabetes and is told you can't bring in outside food. I don't think everyone starts a letter writing campaign. I think some people just go, hey, stick that food down the bag. We're going to sneak it in. Let's get going. You know what I mean? Like,
I know. And maybe we're lucky, but we've never had a problem. We went everywhere. Like Philly Stadium. We were just at the Eagles Stadium for a different game, but all he did was say, hey, you should have taken the medical line. And I was like, sorry, I didn't know. And he was like, okay.
And that was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so my point was going to be that sometimes online you're seeing people in these bands of experiences, and it can feel like everybody feels that way. But I think it's just the people who are the most lost and scared and in need of help are usually more vocal, I think.
Right.
I mean, I'm not sure. Like maybe the world's full of people who are just like, everything sucks and this is horrible. But I don't think so. I think that there's a time during your diagnosis when you feel that way. And it's helpful. I like them. I almost prefer that they voice it, because then when you see it, you can think, well, oh, they didn't need to do that, or they could have done this way. And it kind of spurs conversation. I think you get it through. I think the problem is that the following month, when the next person feels that way, it can start feeling like that's the only thing people are talking about. So I try to stay positive on there and, let people tell their stories of successes and things like that. So for Sylvia, like, what are some of the things that are going right for her now?
She loves not having to see a school nurse. We stopped seeing the school nurse last year just because mainly her school is so big and it was too inconvenient to walk there.
Yeah.
So that was really good for her. She loves that. She loves not being singled out. Just being able to treat herself when she needs to, which the Apple Watch solved that. So she can always hear the phone. It's, quieter. She gets all my messages.
So you're using the Apple Watch.
Her just playing field hockey. She stays after school every day for 2.5 hours. The running is tough. That's really hard to figure out. Mm-hmm. She runs pretty much for 2.5 hours after school. So that was really difficult. I don't think we figured it out even to the end.
Well, is she, so first of all, she's using a pump?
Mm-hmm. Omnipod 5.
All right. So, okay. So how long has she been doing that?
Since July.
Oh, pretty close to the beginning.
August, yeah.
Okay, so you're about 3 months into it. So is she utilizing the exercise mode, or is she?
Yes.
Is that helping?
I think it helped more with swimming over the summer, but with the running, I don't know if it did very much.
So
she still went in with like 40 uncovered carbs and then treated mostly halfway through it most of the times.
Okay, so when she's going to do all this running, it's for field hockey, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So she's taking in a pretty big snack prior to field hockey and then running, and then halfway through these 2 hours of running, she actually needs more food.
Yes.
Okay. Is she getting low after practice, or is she making it till dinner okay?
She'll make it to dinner then okay, and I try to get her up to like 200 so she doesn't have to stop while she's running. Okay. And she can keep, because they race, they do a mile, all kinds of exercises.
Right. And there's not a ton of pausing in between. They're going from one thing to the next over and over.
No, not really.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What does she
eat?
The
running is difficult.
What does she eat before? What does she use?
I usually give her a juice box and a protein bar. So it'll be like 30 carbs, or sometimes she'll have a peanut butter sandwich, Nutella sticks. I try to get it to 30 carbs. So
you do like a little bit of fast acting with the juice, and then you do a little more like slower acting carbs with the bar or the peanut butter.
That's what I try for, unless she'll change it. She'll say, "Oh, somebody gave me a snacks," and then she'll have eaten something else. But yeah, I try to make sure she has 30 carbs.
Okay. Would you share with me, like, what's her A1C right now?
7.
Oh, that's great. Well,
she stays steady at like 7.2, sometimes up to 7.4.
And this is mostly a function of what you're shooting for because of how much activity she has.
Yeah, it makes it harder to stay at the lower numbers.
Mm-hmm. But what does she do?
I think.
Well, if that's your experience, then that's what's happening. So, what about beyond the field hockey? Like, is she playing another fall sport?
Yeah, softball.
Okay. Wow. So that's mostly what, practice at night and then weekends tournaments?
Yeah. Right now, she hasn't done a tournament for this one yet. She was just on a fall ball team that just ended, and now it's a fall travel team, and she'll do her first one next week. But they'll play 2 games.
How old is she again?
13.
13.
She'll be 13 soon.
Does she? How much does she like love the sports part of it? Like, is it? I always wonder about sports. Like, is she doing it because that's what she thinks she does, or is she doing it because she really loves it?
She loves it. Yeah. She loves it. She wants to beat everyone. She just loves it. It's her. It's who she is.
Yeah.
We ask her, say, you don't have to do it. Do you want to do it? Somebody asked her to be on the fall team. And I said, hey, it's up to her. So I'll go home and talk to her about it. And then she was like, yeah, absolutely. I mean, gym class, she's like probably the worst person in gym class. She just yells at all her friends. And
Arden
I asked her.
Good.
I asked her the other day, "Can you test, please?" She's like, "Nope, kickball."
Arden came home one day and she said, the gym teacher pulled me aside. And I was like, what? She goes, he said, you can't throw the ball that hard at people. And she's like, what are you talking about? So they were playing one of those, like, I don't know, just half the class is on one side of the gym and half's on the other side. And they give you these balls, you throw them back and forth. It's dodgeball, basically, right? And
Right.
and she's like, what are you talking about? She's like, people are complaining. And she's like, what? She goes,
That's so funny.
She goes, she's like, that there are boys over there. And she's like, no, it's everybody. Like, you throw the ball so much harder than everybody else. You can't do that. And
That is so funny.
And she took so much pride in that story. Like,
I bet she did. Sylvia would love that.
Yeah,
it's a huge compliment.
Exactly. Where everyone else is just like, oh my God, I'm hurting people. Arden's like, apparently I'm not allowed to throw at my full strength because, everyone else is a baby. And so,
that is so funny.
But when Arden stopped playing softball, she never looked back at, like, once. She got hurt, and so she couldn't play. And then she just, like, as we were trying to get her back again, she's like, I'm done. She's like, forget it. And I was like, yeah, okay. And that was kind of it. I've never once thought that she is sad that she's not playing softball anymore, which
really,
yeah, surprised me. But it was it was interesting to learn.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, she just, I don't know, last night, 2 nights ago at college, she got to meet Miles Teller from that Top Gun movie. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I don't. I didn't see the new one, right. And I don't really remember the old one. I know I've seen it.
It's okay. It's a handsome young man that had his shirt off in the movie, and he's an actor.
Okay.
And he came to a film festival at her college. And
oh wow.
And she was dressed like she was in the movie, and like having such a good time. And I actually remember looking at the picture thinking, like, I can't believe that's the kid that used to, like, dive around in the dirt and throw people out.
I know she'll change one day.
Yeah. So it's super interesting. Okay. So we're up on an hour, and I know you didn't want to do this, so I don't want to push you too far. I just wanted to get your voice on here because I was worried at first that you were, that he had you chained to that refrigerator that you were cleaning.
No, someone spilled something and left it, like they do.
Yeah. No. It's my whole life, and it's my whole life.
No one did it.
You ever walk past the sink and say, does it ever occur to any of you to, like, wash one of these off or move it?
Oh, yeah, forget it.
Nobody cares. Like, if I wasn't here, I know, like, we're all sick right now. There's 3 people in the house. 3 people are sick. I realized this morning, if I was dead, my wife would abandon the dogs immediately. Like, that's the first.
Just leave.
She would just be like, I'm not taking care of those things.
Does everyone have COVID?
Kelly had to go to Paris for work. She came back, had COVID, and we isolated her. And then she was okay and tested negative. We even kept her in there extra time, let her out. She had a rebound after she was back in the house. And so then Cole and I got sick on the same day, but we did not test positive for COVID. And now it's like I'm like 6 days into being sick. And last night, Kelly came up to me and she's like, just take another one of these COVID tests. And I told Bill, like, barely put the thing in the thing, and the line just was like, bang, you have COVID. I was like, oh, okay. So apparently that's what I have.
That's what happened to my family too. The positive came right up immediately.
That's what he was saying. So anyway, so I basically think I used up all of my day's energy to have this conversation with you and Bill, but I'm glad I did it. I'm not certain what's going to happen when I say goodbye in a second, but I think a nap is coming.
Oh, well, you know what, really quick, what's funny about you saying, no one would do anything if you were sick. They all got COVID except for me. And I was able to take care of everyone, keep everything clean up after them, serve them. Oh, and I didn't get it.
That's lovely. Maybe you got a little good karma out of that. Like, although I was helping and then all of a sudden I'm sick. So apparently karma doesn't care about me, but no, listen, they're all terrific, but just, some people are more focused on things. Like, I am sick. We're all sick, but I got up this morning and took the dogs out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, those dogs want to go outside. They have to go outside. They want to eat. Everyone else is just like, look, I'm sick. The dogs will live. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. I'll be the one. This is why I didn't want dogs.
I hope you all feel better.
Andrea, I really appreciate you doing this. Please thank Bill for me as well.
Okay.
And if you hold on 1 second, I just need to tell you like 2 things before you go. Hey, how about a big thank you for Bill and Ann for coming on the show today? And of course, let's thank Cozy Earth and remind you that at CozyEarth.com, my offer code, Juicebox, at checkout will save you 40% off of your entire order. Don't forget to check out the private Facebook group, Juicebox Podcast Type 1 Diabetes. Doesn't matter if you have a LADA, Type 1, Type 2, you're a caregiver, you're welcome there. 40,000 members strong, 300 new members every 7 days. Check it out. It's a fantastic, fantastic environment. Are you looking for the Diabetes Pro Tip series? It begins at episode 210 in your player. Maybe you're looking for the Bold Beginnings, the Defining Thyroid, or any of the other series. Look for them in the feature tab of that private Facebook group or at the top of juiceboxpodcast.com.